Good evening. It's 6 o'clock on this Sunday, the 31st of January. You're listening to the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic. I'm your host, Christopher Haig. Thanks for tuning in and listening tonight. It's been I definitely don't want to say it's been a beautiful day, because it's like the world was just painted gray all day today. But temperature-wise, it was amazing. It was 50 degrees. It only rained until like 1 or 1:30 today, which was awesome. Hasn't rained a drop since. It's been cloudy, but there wasn't, any sort of wind or any, brisk breezes or nothing like that. The only reason I brought a jacket to the studio was because I knew it was going to be dark and it was going to be cold by the time I got out of here. But like a third of the way through my walk here, that was like 5:30. Or something. I took it off. It was too warm at 5:30 at the end of January, beginning of February for a jacket. And like, this makes me think of like everybody, snowpocalypse, and like the entire just eastern half of the country is just getting slammed with snow and cold. And it's like, there were a lot of people on campus wearing like t-shirts and shorts today. And like, I could tell that like everything was like lighter fabrics when they should have been, bundled to the nines, and the eastern half of the country would be bundled to the nines. But it's like, just seeing stuff like that, it's like, oh, snowpocalypse. It's like, we're fine over here, and I hope this means we're on track for a nice, like, an early spring. Like, things starting to warm up, and we've skipped over the miserable, like, face-stinging cold of winter. But it's February in Michigan, and I know better than to assume that. So, enjoy it while you can, but I'm sure there's going to be snow up to our creves, and it's going to be awful. But it was 50 degrees today, and it was awesome. So, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get to a check of weather and news. Is Google trying to retcon the existence of one of its own products? And which celebrity is trying to convince you to stop sending water to Flint? All that and more when we come back on the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic. You're listening to WQBR Eagle Radio. And to kick off this music block, I got some Akon for you. This is Smack That. Alright, welcome back to the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic. That was Moneymaker by Ludacris, and before that was Downtown the World by Critical Bill. And I wanted to make a note of something. As those songs were playing, it made me realize I never really explained the purpose of this show, what the name of this show means, the DJ Eclectic part. Most stations now are specialized stations, and what I mean by that is 89X, Riff, 100.3 WNIC, 106.7, 98.7, 955, they're all specialized towards a specific genre. And more often than not, you're only going to get like the chart toppers of whatever genre, insert genre here. What the point of this show is to find good music. Like that's not a concern. All of these songs are good songs, but the show doesn't conform to any specific genre. So, you can get, Smack That by Akon, followed by a rock song by Critical Bill, and then end with like old school Ludacris, all in the same section. It's all good music, but it's music that you're not necessarily going to hear on what a lot of people like to call top 40 radio. And due to the nature of this show, it is very much like, what people would want to hear rather than like top 40 stuff. So if you have any ideas of what you want to hear on the show, like you turn on the radio to insert station number here. What do you want to hear? I'd love to hear your requests. I have a request email line. It is chaag, HAAG, .eagleradio@gmail.com. Send in your the song name, the artist name, and if you want, include your name. If I play your request, I will give you a shout out right before I play it. So I just want to make a note of what this show is. The music half of this show is what it means. So, gonna jump right into the news. I'm sure by now everybody has heard of the Flint water crisis, but for those of you who may be living under a rock or don't get news all too often, here's the too long didn't read version. Several years back, the Flint decided to change the place it got its water from. They changed from the Detroit River to the Flint River for XYZ reason. It's the timeline is also kind of wonky too. A lot of different people are giving different timelines, and the sequence of events are the same, but just the timeline is weird. So they switched from Detroit to Flint River. The problem is the pipes from the Flint water needed chlorine to clean it. Problem is the chlorine made the water more acidic. It corroded the already bad pipes. Lead in the water. And this has been going on for a few years, so Flint is effectively poisoning its own water supply just by making the switch from the Detroit River to the Flint River. And it's crap's just starting to hit the fan now. Lead poisoning, and like all of the schools and all of the residents there are getting this poisonous water. And what a lot of people have the most concern about and the most anger about is the fact that they're still being forced to pay for the poisonous water, and if not, the city is threatening to take their kids away, because by Michigan law, if your house does not have running water in it, the state has the right, the ability to come in and say, no, you're not fit to take care of kids, and they'll yank kids right out of their house. So these people are being forced to pay for poisonous water at the risk of losing their kids, which, if this continues on with the lead poisoning, they're going to lose their kids anyway. Kids are going to start dying left and right. So it's a huge mess, and people are calling for Schneider to step down, to get impeached, to keep it tame. A lot more people want a lot worse to happen. But in wake of this tragedy, it is a tragedy. There are kids everywhere in Flint who have lead poisoning, and nobody knows what to do. In wake of this, big companies, Walmart, Coca-Cola, Nestle, Pepsi, announced that they're donating just millions and millions of bottles. The four of them said a while back that they'll donate up to 6.5 million bottles of water to school children. 176 truckloads of bottled water to Flint. And it's these huge companies and celebrities have done it. Jimmy Fallon said he planned to donate $10,000 to the Community Foundation of Greater Flint. Pearl Jam raised $300,000. Big Sean launched a CrowdRise campaign for money, and that's up to that was at $20,000 a week ago. So it's probably a lot more now. And it's a huge, absolutely huge mess. But the weird thing is, not everybody is kind of on the same page. Like, a lot of people are saying, donate water, donate money, and that makes a lot of sense. While the core problem can't be fixed immediately, you can kind of help the people, help the people. I don't want to say help the bottom people, but help the people on the bottom, while the people on top get their, heads out of their butts and get their crap figured out. Again, this is radio. I have to keep it tame. But one celebrity, Michael Moore, is telling people to stop sending bottles of water to Flint. His reasoning is that bottles of water won't help Flint's crisis. And for those of you who don't know, Michael Moore is a world-renowned filmmaker. He's actually a Flint native, and he's calling for, instead of donating water, he called for a revolt in Michigan. This is instead of donations from celebrities and organizations. And he posted this on his website back on Wednesday. And he noted that it would take an immense amount of water to keep people satisfied for a year or two. We're looking at a few years before this problem is fixed. And he noted that it would take about 20.5 million bottles of water per day, every day for the next year or two. And he said, no, donating water, while it may seem good, is not actually going to fix the problem. He asked his readers to join him in a revolt demanding Michigan's Governor Rick Schneider be removed and arrested. He called the politicians corrupt and incompetent, which, shockingly, you could put those terms on any politician and they fit perfectly. He wants the problem fixed from the top, and a lot of people have a problem with his stance, because the reasoning behind donating the Jimmy Fallon giving the $10,000 and Pearl Jam raising the $300,000 and Walmart and Coke and Pepsi all donating tens of millions of bottles. A lot of people have a problem with his stance, because the point of everybody donating water and money is to help out the little people, because that's, while it's not going to fix the problem, it's certainly doing something, because we all know how hard it is to get a politician out of office. Everybody knows how difficult that is. So they're just kind of, I don't want to say brushing it under the rug or ignoring the bigger problem, but they're banding together to try and solve what problems they can, while waiting for bigger problems to get fixed by people higher up. A lot of people have an issue with Michael Moore's stance, because he's saying, no, don't do that. Stop doing that. Ignore that. Start at the top. And myself included, while I do think we have to focus on the top, we can't ignore the other side. We can't let this year or two go on, multiple years, while we try and get Schneider out of office, while just letting people sit with their poisoned water. Like, we need to do something about the people while we get the politicians figured out. But Flint is a whole mess. And there was actually news recently, this week. Emails have come out, dating back to early January of last year. This is January 7th. So this is literally one of the first days back from Christmas break. Right? So, we get out for Christmas, everything's closed, everybody enjoys the holiday. We get back. This is like the first few days that these emails were dated, and they just recently surfaced. As if you needed another reason to hate the water crisis and hate the politicians and the people on top who are, poisoning on terrorist levels, poisoning the people of Flint, poisoning their own people. These emails state that state workers in Flint didn't want to drink the water. It had already been tested and found poisonous. So the state, rather than worry about the water supply or worry about the people or worry about the pipes or whatever, decided to ship state workers coolers of bottled water for every single occupied floor of state buildings in Flint. Now, obviously, because these are people on the higher levels of society, the coolers were delivered immediately. There was no delay in the coolers. Again, obviously. And again, obviously, no residents were notified. This is like January of last year. Like, state workers said, oh no, we don't want to drink the water. We know it's been tested and it's found poisonous. We want water. We want good water to drink. We're not gonna drink the city's water because it's poisonous. It's gonna kill them. So the state decided, okay, well, we'll fix our people and screw everybody else. It's like, what could possibly go through your mind at any point to say, you know what, screw the city, screw the taxpayers. We're just going to cater to the people on top. And I realize for a lot of you, and I realize along with a lot of you, that this isn't a new trend. It's always like people on top, the 1% need to be catered. Screw everybody else. But it's like, this is a year ago. It had been tested and found poisonous, and there were emails back and forth in the state. Going back to like one of the first days of the new year. Like this was beginning of 2015. We didn't hear about it for a whole year. It's just, it seems like such a crazy concept to me. You know, to a lot of people, it's like, how can they sleep at night knowing that they let this go on for a year and just did nothing about it? Nothing got done. You know? And then to say, oh no, you guys have to keep paying for the poisonous water. We know you can't drink it or do anything with it, but you need to keep paying for it or we'll take your kids away. Right, because that's a solution. Now, let's not fix the problem. Let's not do anything proactive or positive about it. Let's just threaten people into continuing to give us money. That's like a mafia-style shakedown for the money for the poisonous water. You know, it's like, you know, some stereotypical mobster going up to every family. It's like, those are some nice kids you got. It'd be a shame if something happened to him while he's swinging a baseball bat expecting money for this poisonous water. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like, it's bad enough that you ignored the problem. It's bad enough that you didn't tell anybody. It's even worse that you catered to the state workers and nobody else. But the worst thing out of everything is that these people are still paying for their poisonous water. They're losing money. They're paying for a service that they can't use. You know, it's like if somebody in Ipsy or Ann Arbor said, okay, well, I need a new roof. Here, let me pay the roofing guy. Oh, look, I still don't have a roof. Let me just keep paying the guy and hopefully I get a roof one of these times. It's the exact same thing, except you would never hear about that. You would never hear. Like, that would never happen. You would never have somebody pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a roof and just not get it. That would never happen. But it's going on in Flint with the water. And just like this whole crap storm with Schneider, he actually got a condo recently in Ann Arbor. This is like not too long ago. He got a condo in Ann Arbor, and for keeping some decency in class, I won't tell you whereabouts it is. If any of you have been to the Old Town Tavern, he went out to dinner there a few days ago and just absolutely got destroyed and got heckled out of the place. He went there for dinner and just like the moment people knew he was there, he got an earful from everybody. You know, people say he was eating and drinking fresh, clean water like he didn't have a care in the world. You know, and these people, the moment they found out, it's like everybody, like, it was like people took turns spitting on the guy almost. Just like verbally beating this guy to a pulp the moment they found out he was in the restaurant. It's like, it's so crazy to me that this can happen. You know, it's 2016. This is supposed to be a first world country. And we're poisoning. Like, one of the governors of our state is poisoning Flint's kids, Flint's people, and then making them pay for it. It's like, it's so, it almost seems like we're I mean, it's supposed to be a first world country, and we're dealing with this. This is a problem in a first world country. You know, the leaders of innovation, America, the greatest country on earth, poisoning its own people and making them pay for it. It's just it's absolutely crazy. It's beyond comprehension. Like you can't even hope to one day wrap your mind around, because it's not going to happen. You're never going to wrap your head around why this is happening, what was going through their heads. You're never even going to get close to trying to figure out what was going through their empty heads. Obviously empty heads. Because nobody with a brain or a conscience would A, have let this go on for a year, B, still make them pay for water they can't use. But yeah, he tried to go to the Old Town Tavern in Ann Arbor, and the moment people found out, he got heckled out of there. One woman yelled out, "How's your water? Is it clean? Is it clean? Is it fresh water?" And just like he wasn't left in peace. He couldn't eat his dinner there, and rightfully so. Okay, now that that rant is over, let's switch gears and talk about Google. Do you guys remember a product called Google Glass? I almost don't remember it. And for those of you who, like most people, either A, don't know, or B, have forgotten what Google Glass is, it was Google's attempt at wearable technology. It was a pair of glasses that looked doofy beyond reason. They looked goofy. They only worked like half the time. But effectively what it was is it would allow you to... It was almost virtual reality. It was virtual Google on a pair of glasses. It allowed you to record... it was almost like a computer on your glasses. And the thing that made it goofy is the box that was on your right lens. It just like covered a third of the lens. It was like this gray box on the center of glasses that only had like one lens on it. And it was so weird, and it didn't do well at all. It bombed. And nobody kind of heard anything about Google Glass. It faded into obscurity. And recently, it was found that all Google Glass related accounts on Twitter, Instagram, and Google Plus have all been shut down. Absolutely shut down. The only kind of farewell anybody got was on Google Plus, so nobody saw it because it's Google Plus. No one used it. It said, "Hi Explorers, we've had a blast hanging out with you on Google Plus throughout the Explorer program. From now on, if you have any questions about your glass, you can get in touch with us here." And it was a link to an email. But like after they spent so much time hyping this up, the possibilities of Google Glass, everything we can do with it, and then nothing. It fell flat on its face, and Google didn't talk about it for months. Months. Most of 2015 was spent in silence about Google Glass. And then just like you try and look up Glass-related accounts on social media, nothing. Google retconned the existence of one of its products. They made it seem like the thing didn't exist. It's like, this is Google we're talking about. Like, this is like the top of technology. It's like Google tried something, it didn't work, and they fully backtracked and scrubbed the internet clean of the consumer experiment known as Google Glass. And just, it may have been a solid concept to start, but it didn't turn into anything positive, anything remotely positive. It was just a failure through and through. And a lot of it was a lot of privacy concerns, of course, because it's Google in the 21st century. Nothing you do it's not even Google, it's the internet in the 21st century. Nothing you do is ever private. But it's like this catastrophic failure was like all privacy based. That, and like I've said, it looked doofy. It looked weird. The privacy issues. It was way too expensive. And like I said, it's a solid idea. It was a solid start. Maybe a decade or two, Google can try it again. Different design, same basic product, different design. They can quell all the privacy issues. Like that was the big thing at the consumer level. It's like all of the privacy issues. You could set your Google Glass to record, but after a while, you forget it's recording. People who see you forget you're recording. And it's like, oh, I accidentally caught this, stripper through a window. She was completely naked. I forgot I was recording. That's not okay. You forgot you were recording. Nobody knows you're recording. It's like, it failed on so many levels. And despite not being one of the few people who got to try Google Glass, it was highly entertaining to watch it fail. It feels weird saying that about like anything in general, but especially a Google thing. Although everyone said that about Google Plus, and 100% true, by the way. But it's like, it feels so weird saying it was fun to watch Google fail at something, but it was absolutely entertaining. Seeing all the weird pictures, all the weird reviews, all the weird little snippets and clips of what happens when you forget forget your glass is recording and people don't know, and like a coworker goes to moon you and you forget that your glass is recording and you catch bare ass on this product, on this wearable video camera. You catch bare ass. It's like, like I said, decade or two. It was a solid concept, but it was just poor execution. Poor execution. But I would like to see Google try this again. Just wasn't executed properly enough at all. Wasn't executed anywhere near where it should have been. Okay, so let's turn to weather for the week. We're looking at it's not going to get anywhere near as warm as it is today. The closest we're going to get is Wednesday. It's going to reach 42 on Wednesday, mostly cloudy. Tomorrow we're looking at a high of 41, overcast, but there isn't going to be rain, so it's going to be a lot like it was today, just about 10 degrees cooler. High of 41, low of 28 tomorrow. Tuesday, repeat performance, high of 40, low of 38. There's going to be about a half inch of rain throughout the day. Wednesday, like I said, is the warmest it's going to get this coming week. High of 42, low of 25, mostly cloudy, no rain. So we are going to get some sun. Partly cloudy on Thursday. That's the coldest day this week. A high of 29 and a low of 22. Partly cloudy, so I'll be interested to see how the sun plays into it. I assume it's going to be windy. It's going to be like typical February wind, I'm assuming. Friday, clear, all sun in the sky, only a high of 35 degrees with a low of 26. Saturday and Sunday, we're back to partly cloudy, high of 38, low of 25 on Saturday, and Sunday will be a high of 33 and a low of 19. So, no snow, but it does seem like we're getting back into the, don't forget this is February in Michigan and this is what happens kind of weather. I don't know. I mean, I want it to stay warm, but, it feels weird knowing that there's, like, no snow anywhere. But yeah, so kind of moderate week. Never super cold during the day, never super warm. But yeah, not going to reach the levels we had today, which kind of unfortunate. All right, we're going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to have some video game news, and we're going to talk about what happened when a single father's ex, who is dating a police officer, tried to get involved when he attempted to be a parent to their daughter. This is the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic. You listen to WQBR Radio, and to kick this off, we have The Night by Disturbed. Alright, that was Burn the World by Eye of the Enemy, and before that was Comme un enfant by Yell. Again, DJ Eclectic. That was an Australian metal song, preceded by a French pop song. Only on this show can you get the two combined. It is 6:54 on this Sunday, the 31st of January. It just blows my mind that tomorrow is February. We've been into 2016 for a month already. I've been in school for a month already. And like tomorrow's February. That blows my mind. Okay, so for those of you who are fans of video games, specifically horror video games, even more specifically the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, I'm not sure if you guys saw it or not, but for a small period of time, the game Five Nights at Freddy's World, which was the turn-based RPG-style game from developer Scott Cawthon, who is famous for the, I don't want to say cult classics, but I'm going to go ahead and say cult classic series of games, Five Nights at Freddy's, 1, 2, 3, and 4. He had it up on Steam for not very long, a few days at most, but had it pulled down. It was up there for $10, but he had it pulled down because despite the game having a very positive rating, 87%, which is amazing, Scott was not satisfied with reviews and ratings it got and pulled it down. He thinks he put it out too early for insert reason here. We don't know why he put it up if he didn't feel like it was ready. But normally what happens when you buy a game on Steam is you buy it and you pay however much money for it. And you can get a refund if you've had the game for, I think it's less than 14 days, or if you've played it for less than 2 hours. What Scott decided to do with this one, because it wasn't so much that people didn't like it, but that he himself as a developer didn't like the game he had put out, he contacted Valve, the company behind Steam, and said, yeah, go ahead and refund everybody. If they decide to return the game, if they don't like the game and want a refund it. So no matter how long no matter how much you played the game, even if you put 48, 50, 60 hours into it, you could still return it and get your money back. He said he's going to put it up, he's going to fix the game, he's going to put it up on some other site whose name eludes me. But he said it's going to be free the next time he puts it up. So that'll be interesting. It's not very often, well, you see games disappear from Steam, not super frequently, but it's not super rare either. But especially for someone like Scott, who is, known for rushing games. Like, there was no waiting period for the first three. I don't think there was a wait for any of the 4 FNAF games. So if the first one came out, then there was the trailer for the second, and then a week later that was out, and then he bumped up the release date for the third one, or for one of the last 2 games. Like, he bumped it up 3 times or something. He was going to have it out on Halloween. This horror game out on Halloween, how original. But anyway, he was going to have it out on Halloween, and then he's like, oh no, it's August, and now it's suddenly June. Here's the full game. It's like, okay. So it's weird to have him say a game's not ready when a lot of people feel like that's been his whole mantra. He's like, oh, I have this game. I feel like it's ready. It might not be ready, but let me put it out anyway. It's like this time he openly acknowledged, hey, yeah, no, I screwed up in putting this game out. I'm going to take the game down, and if you want your money back, you can have your money back. It's also interesting that he's deciding to put it up when it goes up next time. He's going to put it up for free. I don't know if there's any validity to that statement, but just the idea that he's, and it might be due to the fact that this is the only non-horror entry into the franchise, that he's like, okay, people, paid for the horror experience, They're not going to get the horror experience with this game, so why make them pay for it? I feel like that's kind of his mindset, but it's still weird to say, hey, I put this game up for $10, but I'm taking it down, and next time it goes up, it'll be free. And again, I don't know if there's any validity to the statement, but he said every single copy, once he puts it back up, if he puts it back up, will be free. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, it's a site called Game Jolt. Coffin stated that when he's ready to update the game, he'll replace the demo on Game Jolt with the updated version, and it will quote, always be free. So, yeah, I mean, I was never kind of on board with the idea from the start. It's like, okay, you built this empire. You know, because the FNAF games, if you followed them from start to end and just a critical reception, it was really like he built an empire on this simple point-and-click jump scare game. And what got a lot of people wasn't so much the scares, though, you know, people play horror games because they like to be scared. It was all of the lore and all of the backstory he put into very, like, key sections of the game where you really had to dig to understand the game. That's what got a lot of people, and he built this empire on these 4 horror games. And then decides, you know what, for my 5th game, I'm going to go cutesy RPG. Really? Really? Like, I could understand, like, you know, he's mid-empire building and he wants to, you know, try something out. If for anything, then to see, like, what attracts people to the games, whether it's the horror aspect or just the name. I would understand if, like, after the 2nd game he tried this, but not after he has 4 cult classic horror games. He decides to put out a cutesy RPG. You know, it's just the whole idea seemed weird to me from this. It still seems weird. Like, to take this horror franchise and go, hey, yeah, cutesy RPG. It's like if some toy line decided to take, like, the Scream movies, like all of the you know, Scream, Friday the 13th, all of the classic horror movies, and make a cutesy line of plushies for them. It's like, it's to the same effect. You have this horror empire. Why would you not only screw with the horror aspect of it, but change the aesthetics to be, like, kid-friendly in a game series that's very, very obviously not super kid-friendly? You know, so I'm glad that, you know, he can kind of, I don't want to say take criticism very well, because it did have a very, very high rating percentage. You know, it had an 87, so it was on, like, you know, it was on the up and up as far as rating goes. But it's nice to see that he sees something, and rather than hope other people don't see it, he pulls it down and goes, hey, yeah, I messed this up, let me put it back up later. I appreciate that. I like that. Okay, and moving from there, moving down to Texas, this story boggles my mind, absolutely boggles my mind. This was posted 4 days ago. It's out of Grand Prairie, Texas. And the too long didn't read version. A Texas father was arrested for theft after he took away his 12-year-old daughter's cell phone. Which from the very beginning, it's like, okay, something's not right here. Something's very, very obviously not right. Now, this story, despite just breaking news a few days ago, you know, this past week, this started back in 2013. His daughter was 12, and he found a text on her phone regarding another woman, and this father decided that the text was rude. He took discretion. He's like, okay, yeah, no, this message is not acceptable. And like many parents do, like my parents did, they take away phones. Of course. You know, I don't want to say typical punishment, but typical punishment. You punish the teen for, you know, an inappropriate text or a rude text. You take the phone away. You know, He said, I was being a parent. A child does something wrong, you teach them what's right. You tell them what they did, you tell them what they did wrong, and you give them punishment to show that they shouldn't be doing it. Of course. Seems pretty simple, right? Problem is, he is a divorced father. He's a single father. His ex-wife is dating a police officer. She found out that he had taken the daughter's phone away, and she had her new cop boyfriend, cop husband. She had already remarried. Had the new cop husband pull some strings, and went and called the cops on the father, and he was arrested when he refused to turn over the phone. He said he didn't want the police department telling him how to parent his child. And he was released back in 2013 after posting a $1,500 bond. Now, a year and a half later, he was charged with misdemeanor theft. Again, going back to the same issue. The judge, a day or two ago, found him not guilty. He was allowed to keep his daughter's confiscated cell phone, obviously to give it back at his discretion. But there are reports now that he is going to be severing ties with his ex-wife, meaning severing ties with his kid, with his daughter. It's like the whole thing is like, I understand that, especially if it's a messy divorce, which this divorce did seem to be, there are going to be some very distinct differences in parenting styles. There are going to be some conflicts over, are you actually, parenting right? Should you be doing this? Should you be doing that? And it's, a lot of bickering back and forth. You can expect that. Like, everybody could see that coming. The messier the divorce, the more one of them is going to get involved in the other's parenting style. But for the ex-wife to turn to her new cop husband and go, hey, pull some strings and get him arrested for theft. It's like exaggerating nothing into a charge of theft. Having him arrested and making him post $1,500 a bond to get out after parenting. That's the big thing. He was being a parent. And I can say this from experience, parents take phones. They do. For any number of reasons. That's their right to do. And it's like, that's a very typical parenting method. Take the phone away. They do something wrong on the phone or off the phone, send them to the room, take the phone away. It's a very classic parenting move. But this ex-wife decided, no, that's not acceptable. It's not a thing you can do. You're getting arrested now. And it's like, she's wasting Grand Prairie, Texas officers' time. Turning nothing into something, and then getting multiple officers to go arrest this guy, it went all the way through the court system. He ended up in front of a judge for taking his daughter's phone. And as I understand it, the way the ex-wife was coming at it is that the phone was in her name. The daughter's phone was in the ex-wife's name. So she claimed that he had no right to take the phone away. And that's how she was able to, I don't even want to call it justify, but wrap her cuckoo nuts mind around fabricating a theft charge. Fabricating a story of theft. But the daughter's phone was in her name, and so that's the only leg that she had to stand on, and it wasn't really standing on because judge threw it out almost immediately and said there was a lack of evidence to move forward with the case. He was found not guilty, obviously not guilty. Thank God that he was found not guilty and that it didn't move forward. That he wasn't actually arrested for misdemeanor theft. It's just absolute craziness. It's absolute craziness. It's like, I get that, okay, it was a messy divorce. You guys don't really like each other much. For whatever reason, there was a divorce. You guys are going to butt heads. You don't like each other's parenting styles. That's all fine. Like I said, I get that. I know that that's going to happen. Not from experience, but because I'm a functioning human being with a brain that works logically. More than I can say about the ex-wife, but that's my opinion. But it's like, I know you guys are going to butt heads, but don't arrest each other for theft. It's not even arrested for theft, it's arrested for parenting. That's the real deal here. A single father was arrested for parenting by his nuts ex-wife, who was just tripping on anger. She was out of her mind, and he got arrested for parenting. It's like, again, going back to the Flint, Michigan, the Flint water crisis thing. This is 2016 in America, and like single fathers are getting arrested for parenting by a spiteful ex-wife. Like, this is really happening in 2016. Are we sure it's 2016? Do we know what decade we're living in? Honestly, I mean, I'm glad that this guy was found not guilty. I'm glad that common sense took over and the charges were dismissed. I'm glad that he's now severing ties with the ex-wife completely. But I'm upset that means that he no longer gets parental access to his daughter. That sucks. When for whatever reason you lose access to one of your offspring, that sucks. And I do want to, I do feel sorry for this guy that not only he has to deal with his crazy ex, well, he did, not anymore, but just like he very obviously came out on the worst end. $1,500 down, no longer has a daughter to speak of. It's utter craziness. Speaking of crazy, I'm sure you iPhone people know the Find My iPhone feature, where if you don't know where an iPhone is or you're trying to track a friend's, you can get it by the GPS location. So this is a story out of... where's the story out of? I believe this is out of Texas. But I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on that. So this woman, Carla Melendez, was worried because her husband, Ramiro Acosta, didn't come home. This was a few weeks ago. Didn't come home one Wednesday night. She used the Find My iPhone app on her phone, which was linked to her husband's phone. Realized that the husband's phone was pinging a half hour away from the house. But this was at night, so she's like, okay, he's, not that far. He's going to find his way home. And she went to sleep, hoping that he would be back. Thursday morning comes around. He's still not there. He's gone. So she pulled up the app again, saw that the dot was still in the same place. She drove to the dot. She drove to the phone. Found the husband's body located by some trees along the side of the road. He had been shot in the torso once. This guy, Carla's husband, had been dead for who knows how long. Killed Wednesday. And the phone was still, thank God the phone was still on, or he might never have been found. Like, he was dead for who knows how long. And this woman finds her husband's body through an iPhone tracking app. A quote from Melendez, the app showed trees, and it was weird because why would his phone be by trees? And it was there for a while. She said, if somebody saw something, please say something. He didn't deserve to be thrown like this, like a dog in the street. I just wanted him to wake up. God knows how long he was laying there. And that's absolutely right. Nobody, as far as the report goes, nobody knows how long he was there. No one knows how long his body had just been laying in the trees. I'm going to feel really bad saying it, but that's a great way to put it, like a dog. You know, he was, she said, he used to be part of a gang, and, you know, maybe this was a case of gang-related violence. But he had been shot and left on the side of the road with his phone still on for who knows how long. And thank goodness this woman had the sense to turn on the Find My iPhone app. Still sucks that you know, she had to find his body and not find him. Yeah, just crazy. Like, technology can be used in so many different ways, and as far as I know, this is the first time GPS tracking has been used to find a dead body, at least on a consumer level. Like, this is a regular iPhone that was used to find this woman's husband. It's just so like, and then you got to think, like, why would he have been killed? Who would have killed this man? Again, she said he used to be a gang member. He must still have a lot of enemies. So you got to figure his gang violence. But then was this like just roll up, shoot the guy, and leave? I mean, it didn't seem all that detailed a kill. Like, the report I'm reading doesn't say that, you know, anything was, you know, taken off the body. Obviously his phone was still there. That's how he was found. It's like someone rolls up, shoots the guy, dumps him on the side of the road, and leaves. It's just so weird. Just so mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. Okay, so turning away from just death and stupid, I'm gonna go right into sports. We don't have much because, you know, it's really only basketball and hockey season. Pistons lost last night to Toronto, 107-111. Jennings had 22 points. Drummond had 12 rebounds. Pistons are now 25-23 in the conference. They take on the Nets in Brooklyn tomorrow night at 7:30. That will be on Fox Sports Detroit, or listen on 105.1. The Red Wings' next game, they take on the Lightning in Tampa Bay Wednesday night at 8. The Red Wings are 25-16-8 so far. They're third in the Atlantic Division. Tampa Bay right above them at 27-18-4. They're second in the Atlantic Division. So it should be a very interesting game. Red Wings have been consistently just destroying it on the ice. It's like they're the one Detroit team that you can always cheer for because you know they're going to do well. And turning to Eastern sports, the basketball team lost to Western Michigan last night, 94-86. Despite outscoring them in the second half, we just never managed to catch the lead that Western took in the first half. We dropped down to 2-6. We're 6th in the MAC West. Our next game is Tuesday night at 7 against Miami of Ohio. They are 1-7 in the MAC West. Their only win is against Northern Illinois. So hopefully we can manage to win that game. I say hopefully because it really is a crapshoot. Not to talk bad about the sports of the school I'm going to or the school that runs the radio station I'm on, but it really is a crapshoot. But hopefully we can, you know, and it's Miami of Ohio. They've never really been strong opponents. So Tuesday night at 7, Miami of Ohio. I believe it's an away game, but I'm not quite sure. Should be interesting. Okay, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll be going over one more check of weather and finish out with a bit more news that'll make you scratch your head and excited and terrified all at once. This is the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic. You're listening to WQBR Eagle Radio. Here is Canadian Idiot by Weird Al. And that was Staying Alive by the Bee Gees, following Lose Yourself by Eminem from the classic movie 8 Mile. If you're one of probably the few people in the world who have never seen that movie, go ahead and watch it. It's brilliant, I promise. It is 7:31 on this Sunday, the 31st of January. This is the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic. And let's jump into our final bit of news. But first, our last weather check today. So, despite it being 50 degrees today, things are kind of mellowing back out into like winter kind of weather this next week. The highest we get is Monday and Wednesday, high of 42. Tomorrow is going to be mostly overcast, high of 42, low of 28. Tuesday, we're going to see some rain and a high of 40 degrees, a low of 38. Wednesday is going to be mostly cloudy, 42 with a low of 25. Thursday is going to be partly cloudy, high of 29, low of 22. So I'm assuming that's going to be like, winter weather, winter wind, kind of just like burning your face and wishing you could stay inside most of the day. Friday is going to be nice and clear, nice and sunny, high of 35, low of 26. Saturday and Sunday are both partly cloudy, high of 38, low of 25 on Saturday, and Sunday it will be 33 degrees with a low of 19. So, not bad, but definitely don't expect like this kind of nice, well, I don't want to say nice weather, because the world was painted gray all day today. But, high temperatures, not a whole lot of rain. That seemed to be a one-off. So, over the course of this show, I've said a few times, like, this is 2016, this is 2016. Barbie, the classic doll Barbie, is getting an update for 2016. There are now 3 new body types: curvy, tall, and petite, to go along with the original. There will be multiple skins, multiple skin tones as well, and multiple hair colors and hairstyles. This one kind of struck me as like, it's 2016, why is this news? And then I'm like, oh yeah, because it's Barbie. And like all about body image and stuff. And it's like, okay, well that's why it's news despite it being 2016. But for those of you who have been holding off getting a Barbie for your little offspring for fears of them judging their own bodies too harshly when they're grown up, when they grow up with the perfection of a classic Barbie doll, you now have several more options opening up for you. Also, to tie in with the whole it's 2016, why is this a news kind of news, I'm sure most of you, all of you, well, those of you who care, have heard about the whole Oscars whitewashing debacle. A lot of, black actors and, black people in the entertainment industry are kind of boycotting the Oscars. And then you have some other, black entertainers who are like, you guys are idiots. Why is this your focus? This news came out, and I've heard this news from a few different sources, but nobody has, by word of mouth, nobody has gotten it right. There is a British made-for-TV movie called Elizabeth, Michael, and Marlon, and I wish I could be making this up. This British made-for-TV movie centers around a fabled road trip that Michael Jackson, Elizabeth Taylor, and Marlon Brando took to try to get home to L.A. from New York after the September 11th attacks. And they decided to get Joseph Fiennes to play Michael Jackson. Now, obviously, September 11th attacks, right around that time, Michael Jackson was already primarily white, but people are still, like, super pissed off about it. Because, you know, they're on top of the Oscars so white hashtag. You know, people are like, oh, this is, you know, whitewashing the cast. My whole thing is, if they had gotten a black actor, they would have had to cake on makeup to mimic the skin disease that Michael Jackson had. And to me, that's way worse. Like, it's not made to make fun of a disease, but it's taking the effects of disease and using them for an entertainment purpose. And I feel like that's way worse than getting a white actor to play Michael Jackson in a time period where he was white. Now, if this was like, okay, we're getting Joseph Fiennes to play Michael Jackson in the Thriller era, okay, that'd be pretty bad. That would be like, okay, we need to, like, back off and focus a bit. But, like, this is already, like, into the 2000s, so it shouldn't be an issue. But it's an issue. And let me emphasize, this is a made-for-TV movie in Britain. It's already done, and it'll be premiering in, I think, mid to late February. So, like, it's done, and it's already set to air, and people are still up in arms about it. You know, tweeting, you know, things like, what's next? Tom Cruise playing Muhammad Ali, Uma Thurman playing Rosa Parks, Joseph Fiennes can play Michael Jackson, a real person, but Idris Elba can't play James Bond, a fake spy for a fake agency. Cool, cool, cool. And it's all of these tweets that all seem to have the same message. It's like, well, would you rather Joseph Fiennes play 2000s era Michael Jackson, or I can't think of a younger black. I'm just gonna say Idris Elba because he's already been mentioned. Or would you rather Idris Elba play him and have to cake on makeup to make light of a disease? It's like what's the lesser of two evils? And it seems like I'm the only one with the opinion I have, but that's totally fine. Keeping in the spirit of entertainment news, those of you who are fans of the classic 90s Nickelodeon cartoons, All That's not a cartoon, Nickelodeon shows, Rugrats, Legends of the Hidden Temple, Angry Monsters, Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold, Doug, Cat Dog. It seems that Paramount, Jared Hess channel classic Nickelodeon shows for a Nicktoons film. It seems like this is Paramount's answer to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which was an amazing movie. And it looks like they're getting Jared Hess, the guy who worked on Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, to like take these 90s cartoons and making them into a movie, which I think is fantastic. Unfortunately, it seems like that's the closest we're going to get to them reviving the old cartoons, which is like, oh, why would you not do that? You had so much potential in these great 90s cartoons. But yeah, it's like very much in the style of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, just using 90s cartoons. Rugrats, Ren and Stimpy, Rocko's Modern Life, Real Monsters, and the Angry Beavers. Those are the ones that are confirmed for this movie, but I can only imagine that's just a small taste of what's actually going to happen. Which I will be first in line for that movie, because I've missed the Nick cartoon since Nick at Night stopped being a thing. That was awesome. For those of you who have any legal knowledge, any knowledge of trademarks and how they can affect an industry, and for those of you who like reaction videos on YouTube, which is a very niche audience, the Fine Brothers, who have made kids react, teens react, adults, celebrities, YouTubers, and elders react to viral videos, video games, old technology, like they had kids react to the Apple II. The Fine Brothers have decided to attempt to trademark their React style and make a worldwide network where people can make similar videos and be promoted for a cut of monetization. A lot of their video is just a mess of confusing legal garb. They claim to be for the creators, but this would effectively mean that they own the right to their style, and it's up to their discretion whether other people are infringing on that style. It's very much monopolizing their style, which they've described as any combination of elements that make up a typical Fine Brothers video, from the opening slate to the sound effects to how the videos are put together, the question package that comes at the end of every video. And there's been a huge backlash. The video where they announced, it's called React World. The video where they announced React World, all of the video where they updated to their update video to kind of clear the air and make things a bit less confusing, and all of the React channel videos since React World was announced have just absolutely tanked, and it's crazy to see that. I've watched React videos since Kids React started 5 or 6 years ago, and just to see one idea, one attempt tank an entire channel. And I'll be honest, I'm part of the I'm in one of the tanks that's just destroying their videos, because this isn't cool. This is trademarking a style of video on the internet where the only way that you can get around their trademark is to join them. And even if you're like a lot of people in YouTube is your method to make money, Fine Brothers say, no, you can keep doing that, just you have to give us some of the money. Which the figures that have been released aren't super clear. It looks like you get between 50 and 70% cut. So it's either 50-50, 60-40, or 70-30. All in your favor. But this is still super worrying, because this is still, a copyright issue on what should be a free concept on a free platform. That's YouTube. As the Fine Brothers trying to trademark their style, and it's just a whole huge copyright mess. It actually came out a day or two after the React World announcement that prior to starting their Elders React series, which I think is their newest one, they had a channel taken down, a full channel, struck out, completely erased, that had a series called Seniors React, that the Fine Brothers deemed too similar to the series that they hadn't even started. And the moment that came out, people were like, oh yeah, that's the thing that happened. Oh, this isn't good. And just it's been a hellhole for the Fine Brothers. And it's just I'm waiting for their apology and for them to go, hey, we realize that this isn't going to work, and we've decided to scrap it. Because I do like their content. Just the moment they start monetizing their style and making people who want to mimic, not even mimic the full style, just use a few elements, which when you get big enough in a style of YouTube video, you're bound to have elements that other people will use. It's inevitable. It's absolutely inevitable. Compilation videos, all done basically the same. Reaction videos, all done basically the same. Let's Plays, all done basically the same, with a few different tweaks to suit the creator. But when you try and trademark your style, right off the bat, people are going to take a few key elements from, not copy it entirely. I understand that they're worried about people just straight up ripping their videos. Taking a Fine Brothers video and replacing the people who are reacting and maybe change the title. I can understand that they're worried about that, but when they try and trademark an entire style, and say, okay, yeah, I know we're trademarking this, and you're going to get taken down if you do it, unless you join this global force of change, which is how they put it, which sounds ridiculous. Like, your content is going to get taken down. It will be erased from the site unless you join this global change for good and give us whatever cut of the money that you're going to make from it. The moment they start doing that, they go into, like, shady, yeah, no, this isn't the way the internet works, this isn't the way YouTube works. You know, you're not doing it for the creators, you're doing it for the creator, yourself. And it's just, it seems like such a blind attempt. And even their update video didn't change anything. It didn't do anything to help. If anything, that had more pointlessly confusing legal garb. Just littering the video. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, at first glance, it seems like a decent enough idea. You know, you get something so that you can, you do something so you save your specific style of video so that people can't just rip it. Especially because, they monetize all Fine Brother Entertainment shows. They monetize it. And so I get that they're worried about people straight up jacking their content and jacking their style. But when it becomes their discretion, I think it loses legitimacy when it becomes their discretion for anybody and everybody. Now, I'm subscribed to a few different React channels. Yeah, a few different creators of React style videos. And they all follow the same basic format. They all follow the same basic timeline. But they're all so very different enough where it's like I can, without being shown the title, it's like I know, okay, that's Fine Brothers. Okay, that's Renegades React. Okay, that's Jinx. Whatever. I know the stylistic changes in this free content. I know how each video is made. But and I know that they all share some similarities. They're bound to. It's just one genre of free content. But when you give one person the monopolizing authority to make a call on whether or not their content is being threatened by, person B's content, when it becomes their single solitary monopolizing decision, when it's up to them entirely, you kind of lose sight of, oh, this is a free market. You lose sight of that. Why do you lose sight of it? Because it's one person controlling everything in the way that they see fit. And it's just, it's so weird and kind of, out of it. So, like, it seems so out of left field, for them to even attempt something like this. But I'm very interested to see where they go from here. Because it is, as sad as it is, it's still interesting to watch. I will still watch their content because it's entertaining. I like the commentary. I like the content that they have people reacting to. But it'll be interesting to see how permanently negatively this impacts their style, the way their monetized product. Like I said, I'll still watch it. I'll still support them for their content. Because at best this is an attempt at an idea. That's all this is. I see a lot of people, I'm unsubscribing, I'm unfollowing, I'm never going to watch another one of their videos again. Like this is a for sure thing, like this is actually going to happen. It's not. It's an idea that they're coming up with that they're attempting to implement without having all the details solidified. Like they're not getting anywhere. Like the React World idea isn't getting anywhere if their trademark for their style doesn't get approved. That's the cornerstone of this whole idea. And now while the idea may be riddled with just crap and stupid legal kerfuffle. And just all of this confusing language that is going to go over the heads of most people. Just like I missed a lot of it the first read through. It's like I had to read the material 4 or 5 times to just get a basic understanding of it. And it's like all of this, the idea may be crap, but it's just that it's an idea. It's not enough to make any sort of full judgment on. No, I can't go, oh, you fine brothers, you guys are, terrible, awful, I'm never going to watch another one of your videos again, how dare you do this? Because they haven't actually done anything yet. They haven't done anything worth of note. It's like, yeah, it's a dumb idea. Yeah, they're really alienating the people that they rely on to make money and to watch their stuff. No, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. No, I don't think it can be spun in any sort of positive light. But it's just an idea. It's like, I'm trying to think of a good comparison. It's like Scott Cawthon and the FNAF franchise. Him taking the horror franchise and trying to branch out into the RPG world, and him failing. Well, I don't want to say failing, but he did end up pulling the game despite the good reviews. It's exactly like that. When he announced FNAF World, it's like, okay, why are you abandoning the idea, the concept that made you all of this money? It's the exact same thing here. The Fine Brothers are still, banking on their content winning people over, but they're branching out to try this new thing. And I gotta commend them for at least trying this new idea, but I don't think it's going to work. But I do also think that people are grossly overreacting to it. No pun intended. Alright, that's going to do it for my time here. I'm going to leave you guys with a bit more music. This has been the 6-8 with DJ Eclectic. I've been your host tonight, Chris Haig. I'll meet you back here, same time, same place, next Sunday, 6 o'clock, on WQBR Eagle Radio. Here is OMG by Usher. Have a good night.